Hello, everybody. Welcome. Guys, what I see Dr. Harvey's here. Dr. Harvey is one of the world's top leading experts in AI technology. A fantastic person. Edward Mosley is here. Edward is a former Marine and international speaker. Some of you I know, some of you I don't know, some of you I'm meeting for the first time. Guys, use this as an opportunity. Put your LinkedIn URLs in the chat. Use this as an opportunity to connect up with other people in the same industry as you, doing amazing things as you, right? So use this as an opportunity to grow and expand your network as well. But without further ado, let's get into this master class. Is everybody ready? Can we hear some energy? Put in the comments if you're ready, right? But also let us know where you're coming from. So I know Alice is coming from the Netherlands. So this is truly a global community, everyone, right? But let us know what country or state you're tuning in from today so that we can make sure we address everybody as well. But I'm from North Carolina, right? We're in the South. We're in the South part of the United States. Harvey's in Texas. Edward's in Virginia. We have someone from Dayton, Ohio. Amazing. Go ahead and scan. You see this little cool QR code on your screen? If you're interested in a TEDx opportunity, I would encourage you to scan this. Now, Dr. Harvey already has this because he already took my TEDx course. But for your reference, this TEDx course is embedded in a community that I will share with you today. But if you are interested in TEDx, if that is a goal you have, scan that QR code. And what you're going to get is a global master list of TEDx events happening everywhere around the globe. So if that is a goal for you, go ahead and scan your screen now, and I'll give you just a minute before we get to the next slide. All right. And if you don't get that scan, no worries. I will send you that list separately after this class is over. So Ignite, the whole masterclass here. Why did I call it Ignite Your Speaking Career, right? Well, I may be dating myself when I say this, but I got really inspired by Smokey the Bear as a kid. Does anybody remember Smokey the Bear? Go ahead and put it in the chat if you remember this 80s like phenomenon. It's actually way before then. I think Smokey the Bear is about 70 years old or so. But I remember it specifically from the 80s, right? And what I remember him saying in all of these commercials is a small spark can actually start a wildfire. Does anybody remember that? Even a small spark can start a wildfire. And as a kid, that concept really resonated with me. And I wondered about it. How can this small spark start this wildfire? So I want you to think of that. And in terms of your brand as well, in terms of your business, that a small spark can actually erupt into this huge consuming thing, right? And ultimately build your brand and build your empire. But there was something before that spark. What was it, right? Maybe it was an idea, maybe it was an action, maybe it was an intention, and then it became a spark. And then what happened? Well, in the right conditions, in the right environment, that spark created a wildfire of possibilities, right? So this particularly resonates with you if you're more in the western part of the United States, maybe in California, right? You know all about these environmental conditions that can take this spark and create this huge wildfire of possibilities, right? But it does take an environment, folks, because a spark in a swamp is not going to have the same impact. There's just too much wetness, right? So it has to have this certain specific environmental condition in order for it to become this consuming wildfire. Now, your speaking career and your business and your brand is no different, right? It follows that same thing. So it first starts as a thought, becomes this action, becomes this spark, and eventually, with enough conditions and environment, it grows into a wildfire of possibilities. Let me know if that resonates with you in the chat as well. So, first off, I know most of us are entrepreneurs, right? So we have 20 tabs open. My husband always jokes with me. Not only do I have 100 tabs open, but I think I have more than one Google window with 100 tabs open, right? So if you can, please get rid of all the other tabs and distractions because I really want you to benefit as much as possible from this masterclass today. And distractions don't help anybody, right? But feel free to keep commenting in the chat as I'm talking if things resonate with you, if things are helpful. That encourages me as well to know that I'm going in the right direction and adding the proper amount of value to you. All right. So I want to talk about who this masterclass is for today, right? These are for authors, thought leaders, professional speakers, subject matter experts, coaches or consultants, or established entrepreneurs. So, what category maybe fall into one, maybe fall into two or three? I know Edward falls into three. I know Dr. Harvey falls into three, right? I myself fall into a couple as well, maybe four, five, six. Dr. Harvey, right? So, we're all experts at something, right? And this masterclass is going to take that subject matter expertise you have and actually develop a brand and a business and a speaking career out of it. But this is not for everybody. This is not for generalists, right? So I can teach people how to grow in their speaking career and how to grow their businesses and their brands, but I can't teach you how to become a subject matter expert. I need you to be that subject matter expert first so that I can take that and mold it and transform it into that wildfire of possibilities, right? This is not for speakers who are seeking instant results. So while results are pretty much inevitable, right? With the right amount of action, with the right amount of intention, it's not for people that are seeking those instant results. It's probably not for speakers also that already have booking agents and are getting gigs very regularly that don't need assistance, right? This is probably not for speakers who are looking to advance their careers beyond unpaid speeches, right? I really want to work with people who want to get on stage and make money and impact doing it, right? So, a couple of things to keep in mind as far as that goes. And lastly, this is not necessarily for speakers who want to be lone wolves forever. I want to ultimately have people in this masterclass that want to learn in a group environment and network with other people and not be lone wolves. Okay. So let's get into it. What we're going to be covering today is just three simple things. One, how to develop a brand that gets you in the door with decision makers. And number two, how to be strategic and intentional with your application so that we know when you apply, it lands with that decision maker. Number three, practical steps to continue to grow your influence by leveraging your speaking experience for long term success. Now, if you stay to the end, I've already given you one free giveaway if you're interested in TEDx, right? But if you stay to the end, I'm actually going to give you a really big giveaway. And that big giveaway is a list of 2.7K, that's not a typo, that is a real number, of business industry specific conferences right now looking to hire speakers just like you. Does that benefit anybody? Put it in the chat. Let me know if that would benefit you to have this list of 2,700 business specific conferences looking for speakers just like you, folks. All right. So, does this sound like you? Oh, before I get into it, we've got some comments. Dr. Harvey says, yes, that'd be great. Oh, yeah. Heck yes, she says. And oh, I would love that. I think I'm solving problems already. Dr. Harvey says, yes, exclamation mark. So, does this sound like you? Do you want to be seen as a global thought leader and but you're struggling maybe to gain traction, right? Are you frustrated by being overshadowed and struggling to stand out in a crowded digital landscape, right? Because we know how crowded it is. It's getting more and more so every day. On LinkedIn alone, Guess what? There's over 1 billion people on LinkedIn alone, folks. That's a lot of people. It's getting harder to stand out, right? Are you craving acknowledgement for your ideas and contributions, but struggling to gain visibility and reach? And then lastly, are you looking for ways to expand your influence, impact, and income, but struggle to find or land speaking gigs? Which one? Which one? Right? One, two, three, four, maybe a combination of both. Guess what? I've been there too, right? I have been there too. Let me know which one is the biggest pain point for you right now. But I want you guys to imagine this. I want you to imagine standing on stage, delivering this heartfelt, compelling, authentic message that really resonates with people. Maybe it starts a global movement and conversation surrounding you and your expertise. Maybe it increases the level of influence and authority that you have, gains you traction, and increases your visibility in the process. You would feel this profound sense of empowerment, clarity, and purpose. And you know what else starts to happen? Those dots start connecting. And when those dots start connecting, opportunity flows and follows, friends. Okay. This is the power of speaking on stage. And I'm very passionate about this topic because speaking on stage, without a doubt, utterly changed my life. So, a little bit about me, who I am, and why am I doing this, right? So, my name is Tara LaFawn Gooch. Some of you have met me before. I know Dr. Harvey and Edward have worked with me, right? But some of you are new to this, and maybe you've just recently connected with me here on LinkedIn or otherwise. So, I'm an international best-selling author. I'm a Forbes featured CEO. I've actually been in Forbes 3 separate times. LA Weekly, Yahoo Finance, MSN, and more, Fox News, right? So I've done pretty amazing things as far as PR and visibility goes. But what I did recently as well was have an international TEDx talk that was ranked #1 in the world the month of its release, which was February of this year, 2024. And actually, I got over 411K views just yesterday. So I'm happy to have passed that mark yesterday. But it became this worldwide global phenomenon. And in the first 30 days of its release, I had 410,000 eyeballs on my TED Talk. Just imagine what that meant, right? For my business and brand and what it can do for you too. But my life is great now. Thankfully, right? It's successful. But it wasn't always this way, my friends. And I want to take you back a little bit, just a short trip ago, of why my life wasn't so great. And hopefully, this gives you some inspiration, right? So, I grew up with nothing. Literally, I've talked about this in my TEDx talk. I talk about it in my international best-selling book. I grew up in poverty. I was the youngest child of five, raised by a single mother. Okay. And at times we lived below the poverty line, right? I grew up in a small town in rural Maryland. There was nothing around me, not even a stoplight, really. It was a teeny tiny little town growing up. But there was a pivotal moment in my life when I said, you know what? I deserve more. And that goes back to the Smokey the Bear illustration. It was a spark, okay? From that spark came a wildfire of possibilities. So at one point in my life, which was not that long ago, folks, in 2022, I decided to leave my corporate job because I was unfulfilled and feeling a lack of purpose in every possible way. And I decided to bet on myself for the first time in my life and see what could be. So I became an entrepreneur. Now, in 2023, January, now Edward was actually here for this. So, Edward, Put in the comments, right? Because Edward was in person for my first keynote speech. So I delivered a keynote speech in Washington, D.C. to a room full of professional speakers, guys. Can you imagine? I had never spoken on stage before this moment. I had never done a webinar, even just like this. I hadn't done anything. I was actually terrified of speaking, terrified. And to the point where it was, I would say, my biggest fear. But the moment I went on stage, something really amazing happened. It was literally like a metamorphosis of sorts, right? I went from being terrified to growth in an exponential way, just like a butterfly would, right? Go under this metamorphosis, this transformation. And when I was on stage, I realized that I was indeed a subject matter expert and authority in something. People were listening to me, they were glued in and interested in what I had to say, right? This experience changed my life completely. And it ultimately led me to be a better coach, a better consultant, a better mentor, and a better example for other speakers to follow as well, or anybody aspiring to speak. So, yes, anything is possible, my friend. So, I want to show you the whole story because on social media, we see the highlight reels only, right? We see what everybody's doing right now, and it sounds exciting, but it also sounds very out of reach. So, the first picture is me and my brother playing tag when I was just a kid. So, I was about 8 or 9 years old in this picture. We didn't have anything, right? So behind us is a couple of junky cars and an unkept lawn, right? We didn't have anything growing up, but we had each other. We had a connection. And we still have that beautiful connection as a family, right? But from nothing can come something. And we can see that it's possible for each one of us, right? That from nothing can come something. So anything is possible. You can go from zero to Forbes or TEDx stage or a conference stage or wherever you want to be if you have that right condition and right environment, just like that spark of potential. So let's talk a little bit about the situation and the opportunity, right? And for many of us, we know the situation that exists with us as speakers. Many aspiring speakers are just unaware of some of the strategies to grow their businesses and brands, right? The industry itself can be seen very disconnected. And it's hard sometimes to understand how to apply for stuff and where to go and who to reach out to and all of these things. We have so much to think about. And a lot of times too we apply to things if we do find them successfully, and what happens sometimes we get rejected, right? And this happens to everybody. But it's hard. It's a hard industry to get in, and ultimately sometimes we feel like we're getting kind of stuck in this cycle of limited exposure, just trying to reach for air, right? Does that resonate with anybody? Put it in the chat if you have experienced this, because I know I have. Many speakers find it difficulty, looking up these opportunities. Listen, we could search the internet for hours, and maybe some of us have. Have you searched the internet for hours? Just yes, Harvey, I have searched the internet for hours looking for an opportunity. Oh, yes, I know that feeling, says Deborah. It's exhausting, and nobody has time for it, my friends. Nobody has time for it, right? We're trying to grow our businesses and brands. We don't have time to search the internet endlessly for opportunities, right? But by implementing the strategies I teach, you'll actually be equipped to get in front of those decision makers instead of endless searching. Does that sound good? Do you guys want to learn that? Do you want to learn some of the strategies that I use to get in front of decision makers so you don't have to search the internet anymore? Does that sound cool? Okay, yes, yes, yes. Harvey, I'm so happy. I found your TED Talk and connected with you. That is so great. And then what if you could have, right? And I'm not trying to get you too excited, but think about this. Just think about this opportunity. What if you could have all of these speaking gigs delivered to you, have PR, have podcast guest spots, have a weekly meeting with mentorship and guidance, Have courses that equip you to do things really big, like a TEDx talk, or learn how to use LinkedIn like a complete and total pro so that you don't have to search anymore on the internet, but actually you can just look right in your LinkedIn network for these opportunities. Would that help? Would that be useful? Right? So, again, getting speaking opportunities delivered to you, having podcast guest spots delivered to you, PR opportunities, points of visibility, right? Having all of these things delivered to you with a community support and guidance from a mentor who's done this exact thing. I think that would be pretty helpful, yeah? Deborah says yes. Edward says, hell yes, absolutely. This is what we need. And why do I know we need this? Because I'm a speaker, folks, and I know how hard it is. So let me back up just a little bit. About 2 or 3 months ago, I had it. And I said, I am so tired of searching the internet, right? But I had found all of these really cool opportunities for speaking, and none of them were aligned with me. So the idea to form this community, which I'll talk to you in a little bit, kind of came to mind based on that. I realized I was getting all of these great opportunities, but none of them were in my field of expertise. So I wanted friends to share them with, but then I thought it would also be really cool to have all of the tools that speakers need in one place, because who wants to look in multiple sources for information when you could just go to one house, right? So anyway, that's why I developed this masterclass today to introduce you to that concept. So there's a lot of ways to succeed here. We can see that, but success looks different for all of us, right? So while we are all professional speakers or aspire to become professional speakers, our journeys look different and not everybody has the same goals, right? So some speakers, they want keynotes, they want corporate workshops, right? They want also consulting gigs outside of speaking. Some speakers just want to speak on stage. Some speakers want to present virtually. Some want to land TEDx talks. Hey, guess what? I am a supporter of all of these goals because I've done all of these things. And actually, I found it's the best way to grow your business and brand when you have that holistic overall approach, right? Because we can see how important, and Dr. Harvey knows, right? We've talked about it, Dr. Harvey, how important a TEDx talk can be for leverage and positioning of your brand. It's huge. You think about it, right? TEDx, how many users do they have? How many subscribers do they have on their YouTube channel? 40 million. Think about that. What would that mean for you and your business? What would that mean for you and your message and your mission? Would it change your life? This is why I advocate for it. It's a huge platform. Use it, right? And that's why I want to teach you guys how to do these things as well. So I do support each of these goals, but I encourage people that I want you to, position yourself as that subject matter expert and authority, but also not stop at unpaid gigs, because TEDx, let's face it, is an unpaid speaking gig. I also want you to have some stuff lined up as well. And why not work on multiple things in your pipeline, right? So Alice says, may I ask the success rate of your students who joined your masterclass really make it to TEDx? Alice, great question. This is the first masterclass, my friend. I would say that my program for TEDx, as long as you're a subject matter expert and authority, there's no reason why you can't land a TEDx talk. And it it makes sense once you start getting into it. But what I teach specifically is how to take that subject matter expertise that you already have and find aligned speaking opportunities for TEDx that make you a natural choice for that, right? So as long as you're a subject matter expert and as long as you're applying with intentionality, right? It's going to happen for you. And I will use myself as an example, Alice. So during the process of me writing my book, this was before it was even published. It was still a Word document on my desktop, right? But I knew I had this original idea. Okay. So it's an idea on how to develop confidence. Well, That's a topic that's very in demand because, as I said in my TEDx talk, 85% of the world's global population suffers from low self esteem. So, if we have a problem that is, globally recognized, a lot of people have it, and we're the solution provider for that. And then we find an event theme that is geared specifically to your subject matter expertise, you're going to be seen as that natural fit, right? And just for some inspiration, Alice, 3 weeks from the moment I decided, I guess I'll try to land a TEDx talk, to the time I landed a TEDx talk in England, right? 3 weeks. 3 weeks. From the moment I decided I was going to become a TEDx speaker to the moment I got accepted was 3 weeks. If I did it, you can too. Okay. And you don't have to necessarily have a book written, but you just need to be that subject matter expert. And Alice, I will help you dial that in to figure out exactly what your topic should be. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about my process. So, first, I want to understand your goals, just like what I was saying with Alice, right? What type of speaker are you? What are your specific areas of expertise? What are your goals for this? Okay. Because, like I said, we all have different goals. I know Harvey's going for a TEDx talk. Edward is landing a lot of conferences and getting in front of CEOs for leadership coaching. We all have different goals. But my first level is understanding what your exact goals are so I can help you advance. Okay. First, we have to define who you are and what your target audience is, right? Then we have to create a message to market match. Message to market match. And what I've found in my experience as a speaker, as a consultant, as a coach, when we develop that message to market match, that's when the synapses click for the decision maker's brain, in the decision maker's brain, to say, you know what, this is the person. And let me ask you guys this. If you're seen as an expert, as the person, and you have a message to market match, do you think that you will get a lot of yeses? Let me hear it in the chat, guys. I know you will, right? But we also have to develop a compelling brand to go around all this stuff, right? Because if we aren't demonstrating ourselves as a subject matter expert online, we don't have a brand, it's going to be a little harder for those dots to connect in that decision maker's mind. And we can understand that, right? So we need to also learn the strategies to make ourselves memorable, visible, and stand out from the pack so that when we do apply and we have that message to market match, our brand actually gets us in the door as well, right? So when a decision maker opens up your email or your communication, whatever that may be, they see an established brand, they see somebody who's a thought leader and expert, and then you have a message to market match that completely satisfies their problems, and you're seen as that solution provider, then the answer is going to be yes, right? So we're going to pivot. We're going to learn how to pivot from just generic applications and kind of blasting things out, what I call the spray and pray approach, right? To specific targeted industries and people that have the problems that you are the solution provider for. And then your brand makes you stand out from the pack, right? These are all things that I teach. But it's not just there. That gets you all in the door, but what next, right? So you have to have you have to be a master of storytelling and delivery, right? So when you do secure these opportunities, and you do step on stage, or when you do work with corporations, that it resonates deeply with them. Okay. And this storytelling makes you memorable and helps you stand out. And what's going to happen if you do this with enough consistency and volume over time? You're actually going to shift from nervousness to confidence, right? Because you're getting your reps in. And all of a sudden, people are saying yes more, right? And then finally, you're going to learn the business of speaking, the business of speaking, because it's way more than just stepping on stage. A lot of people forget that. This is a business. So it's about systems and processes that set you up for success and learning how to do all of these things, right? So you're going to explore some proven strategies and methods that I'm using right now to grow and enhance my speaking, coaching, and consulting business, right? And then finally, you're going to shift from obscurity to visibility. And you're going to be able to leverage things like LinkedIn and social media to your advantage. And you're going to start collaborating with other people, right, who are doing big things as well. And think about how this could enhance your brand, right? I love this analogy of a braid. It's so powerful, guys. When we have one strand, it's not very strong, right? When we're by ourselves. And this is why I encourage us to not think like lone wolves. This is why I encourage you to think of this as a real braid, right? So we have ourselves, and by ourselves, we're only so strong. But then you pair this with other people who are doing amazing things. And then you've got me to lean on. You've got a whole community to lean on, right? Then how much stronger is that? It's huge, right? It's everything. So imagine this again, proven process, having access to a system and process that leads speakers to success, right? I'm not going to teach you guys anything that's a theoretical concept. In theory, if you go search on Google, you'll find speaking gigs. You just need to search schools and universities. No, I'm not going to teach you anything theoretical. I actually deliver gigs to you. I want to emphasize that again. This is a part of that braid. It's not working by ourselves, it's working together as a unified force, okay, to help you advance your career. You're going to have an experienced mentor. That's me, somebody that's already done these things and helps you along the way. I think it's really important, especially if we're talking with about TEDx and stuff like that, Harvey and Alice, that we work with somebody who's bridged that TEDx success already, right? Somebody who's already done this. And this is the difference between just working with any other speaking coach and somebody that can really help you with TEDx as well. I've done it, I've helped other people do it, and I can help just about anybody do it as well, as long as you're that subject matter expert, right? And then imagine having a community support and all the resources that you need, and it's in one place. Again, you don't have to search the internet hours for speaking opportunities and have this kind of hope spray approach strategy, right? It's everything in under one roof in one house. So I just want you to imagine and think about that. But I will take you inside our community as well and show you a little bit about what it looks like. Now, this is my view, so I'm an admin. Yours is going to look a little bit different, but everything here is separated by category. So, what I've also noticed is that when I took a lot of other speaking courses and programs, that I would say, gosh, what week was that? That lesson. I forgot to download that document or something like that. What lesson was that? What week? And I could never find stuff, right? I have everything separated by category. So you don't have to think about, oh, when was that? Did she say? Or what was that? Or whatever. Everything is simply set up by category. The first thing that you do when you're a new member is you go ahead and introduce yourself, right? And we have some introductions going. Here's somebody that joined yesterday. His name is Doug Thompson, good friend of mine. Doug's actually a TEDx speaker as well, and he's an international best-selling co-author. So the people that are in this community already are very successful. So the people that you're going to be networking with are the best of the best, right? He's also a chief education architect and ex-Microsoft executive. Marcus, he is amazing as well. Marcus is a TEDx speaker and I think 5-time author. And then we have Tracy Clark. Tracy Clark is an amazing person. She's from London. I actually had the opportunity to meet with her. Tracy has an 8-figure exit under her belt and 2 Queen's Awards. And there are others as well. And we would love to have you. The first thing is I recommend everybody putting in if they need a brand audit. Why? Well, I also own a branding agency, right? And my husband is a professional brand designer, and he's been doing it for about 20 years and teaching on the college level how to do this as well. So you're not just getting me, you're getting a team of resources. One of the best things that we can do is having a third party person. Oh, there's Doug. I'm so happy. Having a third party person look at our brands and let us know if there's any gaps because we can't see the holes in our own ship, folks. This is why it's important to work with somebody that understands brand. All right. And then after that, we also have marketing materials. These are all of the marketing materials that you need as a speaker. Now, what's really, really cool, I give you the editable PDFs of a lot of these documents, folks. So if you want my, for example, speaker one sheet, which I recommend everybody having, right? This is a good way to connect up with people and get yourself booked into events. Guess what? It's editable. And I will actually send you the Canva version. You edit and drop your pictures, you put your colors, your typography, and whatever else in there. And you don't have to think, is this going to resonate? Is this going to work? Because guess what? This is something that I'm using right now that works for me, and it can work for you as well. So all of these are editable resources, but of course, we are a branding agency. If you would like us to just do it for you, we can do that as well. And the point is not to having to shop around to a million people to get one job done, right? And hoping to piecemeal your brand. That's actually something Edward mentioned to me that he was tired of people piecemealing his brand and trying to get it all together in one place. It's not going to work. So it helps to have experts that already know all this, right? That are speakers that know what works in the industry. Then after that, I've actually got 2 open speaking gig sections in the community already. So one open speaking gig section, these are probably non-conferences, right? These are more events. Maybe they're smaller, some are virtual. Right here, this is just in the last couple of days, guys. I update these all the time. Again, this is the resource to find speaking opportunities. Don't search on the internet. There's a 34-page list right here. Would that be helpful to you guys? What do you think? Put it in the chat, right? That's not it. That's just one thing I have. Then I also put in if there are just ones that I find randomly. I'll put them in here as well. Look at that 3 open TEDx gigs. Would that help you guys? Just having the links to apply? Would that be good, right? You don't need to search anymore, folks. Now this is a special place too. This is conferences by category. Ooh, again, no more filtering. What would that mean to not have to filter? Saves you time, right? So if you're a business speaker, i.e. leadership, human resources, development, those kind of things, you would go here. You don't have to go and look at all this other noise if you don't want to. Maybe you're a marriage and relationship expert. Maybe you're political. Maybe you're parenting, lifestyle. As you can see, guys, it goes on and on and on. Now, I will say this, my friends. One of these, just by themselves, has 3,000 speaking gigs listed. One. And that's the industry specific conference opportunities. These other ones, there's plenty in there as well. My friends, this is how you get gigs right here. You don't have to go searching anymore, right? I've got some speaking tips and insights as well. How to craft a defining moment story, how to craft your signature talk. Would that be useful for you guys, do you think? Signature talk formula. Here's an agreement for speaking at a keynote. Would that be useful? This is something I'm using. Hopefully it can help you too, right? TEDx calendar of events. Wow. Identifying key decision makers in corporate event planning. Would that be good? Do you need that, right? What I've done is I've taken literally every asset imaginable and put them in one place just for you. Podcast and guest spots. Look at this. You don't have to worry about where am I going to get my next podcast appearance from. I've got them all here. And guess what? These are all pre-vetted shows. Now, the power in this is I've already been a guest on all of these shows. So you don't have to worry. Is this person's brand aligned with mine? Are they going to add a lot of value? See, I've already been on these shows. So every single one of these podcasts, I recommend you being on. Now, this one's blown up. This Bold Lounge, I will say that. I was a guest on here about a month ago. Guess what? They are interviewing super top level people. It is incredible. Dory Clark was on there just last week. Heather Monahan, I'm sure you've heard of her. She was on there a couple weeks ago as well, and I was on right before. They're interviewing really top level people. This podcast, I think, is in the top global 1%. And it's not the only top global percent podcast I have listed in here. Guys, I've talked to a podcast booking agency. You know how much they charge to get you booked on guests as podcasts? No, this is not podcast production. This is them taking guests, their customers, and booking them as guests on other podcasts. Does anybody know? Put in the chat just a guess. How much do you think they are charging? Amen, brother. Guess what? $2,500 a month starting. They guarantee three podcast spots per month. Guess how many are listed in our community right here for you? Oh, there's Edward's podcast. Yay, Edward. Guess what? There's already 18 listed in here. What would that mean for you and your business, right? Especially to appear on a top global 1% podcast. What would that mean for you and your visibility, right? How much impact could you create? This is a favorite part. I'm sure Dr. Harvey is going to have a cow when he goes through these AI prompts. I can't wait for you to look at this, Harvey. So right here, there are about 30,000 pre-engineered AI prompts. What would that mean for you and your business and your level of quickness in accomplishing tasks? Right? Not all of us are AI experts, and that's great. We don't have to be. I've already done the work for you. So these are pre-engineered AI prompts, and just like everything you'll see in this community, they are separated by category, folks. So if you need, let's say, an email campaign to go out, well, you simply go to the content creation section. Let's say you need an ebook for your business, for a lead magnet, right? Well, guess what? I have a prompt for that, and it develops an ebook for you in about 60 seconds. All you need to do is put go to Canva and put a cover on there, and boom, you have an ebook in about 5 minutes. What would that mean for you and your business? And that's just some of them. As you can see, there's lead generation prompts, marketing strategy, copywriting, email, sales funnel optimization. What would that mean for you and your business, right? How could you grow with that? And then what I introduced to you at the beginning, if TEDx is a goal for you, and Harvey just took my TEDx course, if this is a goal for you, let me know. Why? You've got a resource right here. It's a 6-week TEDx course that shows you exactly what I did to land an international TED Talk in England and have it not just landing a TED Talk, okay? Because I want you guys to actually be set up for success. I didn't want to just tell people how to land a TED Talk because it goes on YouTube. I want you to have success with your TED Talk and have hundreds of thousands of people watch it. Wouldn't that be exciting? So the goal here, as we can see, is not to be average. The goal is to be exceptional, is to have that wildfire approach to growing your brands and businesses. Yep. So going back to the last question, Edward says 10K. You know what? Absolutely. And Deborah says, I've always dreamed of doing a TED Talk. Guess what? It's within reach. If I did it, you guys can do it. Deborah, you are way qualified for this. Deborah, for everybody's reference, is an author of many books, just like Harvey and Edward are, right? So this is possible. If I did it with one book, you guys can do it, right? You guys are way more experts than I am. So why can't you do this, right? All you need are the right conditions and the right environment in order for you to be set up for success. Oh, Deborah says I'm in Scotland. Yep. Perfect. Yep. If I did it, anyone can, says Doug. You're very humble, friend. You are very humble, my friend. But then that's not all, guys. I also want to teach you everything I taught NASDAQ in 2022 about growing your business on LinkedIn. So here's an interesting fact. Just a few months into me being a full-time entrepreneur, NASDAQ actually approached me to share with their audience how I grew my business on LinkedIn. Imagine having an opportunity like that. Talk about leverage, talk about positioning, talk about PR, right? It's completely free on my end. I didn't pay for it. And how much growth did that lead me to, right? So think about you doing the exact same things. Again, when we think about speaking career, a lot of people have it, just designated to a literal physical stage, but it can be virtual as well. And this is proof of that, right? And then what can you build off of that? You can build courses, you can build programs, your brand, all sorts of stuff. So this LinkedIn course is very valuable. It teaches you exactly what I'm doing right now with the tools and the automations and everything that goes along with it, Sales Navigator, of how to grow your business and brand on LinkedIn and how to get in front of your exact client avatar. Does that sound, again, useful to anybody, right? I hope it does. So let me know in the chat which of these favorite spots in your community, which of these favorite spots in your community in this community would help you the most. I would love to hear your thoughts, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts. But let's go back to this, right? So we've seen the community. We see all of the features that it has. We can understand how this can help us advance with whatever goals we have. Whether our goal is to, land a TEDx talk, whether our goal is to land conferences, whether our goal is to, get in front of decision makers, have them notice us, gain visibility, gain traction. Whatever your goal is, I support all of them, right? And I have resources to help every single person here succeed in doing that. So we have a choice, right? We have a choice now. We want to create this life of impact and influence that I know you guys are capable of achieving. Listen, I wanted to make sure that everybody who came today was a subject matter expert and authority, right? And you guys all have this spark of potential. It's just waiting for the right conditions for it to become a wildfire of possibilities. And if we don't act on this, are we going to be asking ourselves, what if? What if I would have taken that opportunity? What if I would have enrolled in this community? What would the outcomes be? And every moment we need to recognize is a moment that passes either way. It's a moment that we either seize an opportunity or it goes, right? I want you guys to take this moment to just believe in yourselves. Okay, a little bit more. Remember, a couple slides back, I said I came from nothing and then a wildfire happened. I'm not an anomaly. The same can happen for you guys too, right? And also just consider, what would the value of just that one breakthrough moment be? Imagine you stepping on stage at TEDx, delivering that heartfelt speech that resonates globally, touches the lives and hearts of people all across the globe. It's possible for you too, okay? It is possible. But I will leave you with this. One of my favorite quotes, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Has anybody heard of this quote before? It's so good. It's so powerful. The only limit to our realization of tomorrow will be our doubts of today. The only realization of tomorrow will be the doubts of today. So it's about taking that time to believe in ourselves and to understand that we too can become that wildfire of possibilities. And we all have this potential and within us already, right? So I would love to hear from you guys right now. I would love to hear from you guys. Put it in the chat. I will stop there. I want to answer any burning questions that you have, whether they're brand questions, visibility questions. If we've got brand specific questions, Josh is actually here. Feel free to put in the chat if you have any specific questions about this community or anything that's offered or the courses or the individuals who are already signed up in the community, let me know as well, my friends. I want to add value today and give you things that you can walk away with right now. So if anybody has any questions, I will just wait for questions to come up. Please don't be shy. Let me know if you have anything. But I want to encourage you to scan this QR code with your phones right now, because this will take you to the community, just that landing page, so you can watch a video. I've actually got two videos on there. One video explains the community. It goes over exactly what I showed you today, but in a 3-minute condensed version, just as a good recap, right? And then the other videos I have on there are testimonials from clients, from speakers just like you, from authors, right? From people that I've helped on LinkedIn grow their brands, grow their businesses, increase their income and their impact in the process. Does that sound valuable to anybody, right? Put it in the chat. Let me know if you have any questions, guys. And I promised everybody a gift. I think I promised 2 gifts today, didn't I? Does anybody remember me promising 2 gifts? I sure did. So I'm going to put in the chat now. All right. So Josh just put in the link to my community, to our community. It's not mine, it's all of ours. Talk your way to the top. And I will put in the chat as well a link to Google Drive. I've got a 2.7K list of open conferences right now in business, looking for speakers just like you. Here it is. I would encourage you to grab that link, look at it in Google Drive, and just start imagining yourself on more stages, my friends. So this is a Google Drive link of business, of industry-specific businesses looking for speakers right now. So whether you're an HR speaker, whether you're a leadership speaker, right? Maybe you're an AI expert and you help consult businesses and speak on AI. How could this help you in your business right now? And when you go through this list, you'll see some amazing things. It doesn't tell you what website to go to. I actually, in a lot of these links, there's an actual direct submission URL. Again, we don't have to search the internet anymore. Some of these events as well have the decision maker's name and email already there. What would that mean for you and your business and your brand, right? So go ahead and grab that link, 2.7K business specific conferences. And as you see, that is just the tip of the iceberg, my friends, right? So again, anybody have any questions at all? Because we can wrap up just a smidge early and I can give you guys some time back if nobody has any questions. Amber, thank you for this. Yes, Amber, I look forward to working with you. Don't forget to grab your URL. I will say at the end of this webinar, right? This webinar is, or pardon me, the price for this class is actually, and this community is actually increasing starting at midnight tonight. The price of the class is actually going to double. So this is a great time to get in while this community is priced as low as it is, which is only $297.99 a month. If you land one speaking gig from this community, you get an ROI, right? Actually, if you land 1 or 2 podcast guest spots, which you will because they're all already there for you, you get an ROI. Otherwise, you'd have to pay somebody to get you on there separately. Think about this, right? Don't think about all the ways you're going to fail. I want you to think about all the ways you're going to succeed, and success is inevitable. So again, the price of this community goes up at midnight tonight and the price is going to double. So I encourage everybody to jump on this opportunity right now as soon as you can and start looking at these conferences and opportunities. Start applying today. Start applying today. Guys, I appreciate your time today. Thank you everyone who joined our webinar. And if you have any further questions, feel free to DM me on LinkedIn or send me an email. I will see you on stage. Take care.